to episode 5 of Unfiltered Thoughts. I just want to say thank you so much for all of the support. It means absolutely so much to me. My first 2 videos have reached over 200 / almost 200 views, and that is just amazing. I'm not even going to talk about my 3rd episode because that one has the least amount of views. I don't know why, but it does. And as for my 4th episode, it is just hit 100, I believe. So, which is just so amazing to me. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the support I've been getting from friends, from family, from strangers, whatever it is. Thank you. Today's episode is kind of piggybacking off of last episode because I've realized that I really enjoy giving advice. I really enjoy sitting down and just being 100% real and saying things that not only makes you feel better, but makes me feel better as well. Because these are things that I need to hear for myself, and these are things that you may need to hear as well. For instance, my last episode I made, I've even rewatched it for myself because I'm like, yeah, girl, you're speaking some truth, even though it's literally me speaking. So, and also piggybacking off of the whole reading poems or something like that. This specifically is a page out of a book. I found it online, and it will start our first little tangent of the day. So, trusty dusty phone. Let's get right into it. Happiness means something different to us all. I cannot know what makes you happy. You cannot know what makes me happy. That's what makes us unique. The problem is we have this one-size-fits-all approach. This explains why the prescribed life, school, job, house, family, consumerism, retirement, death, leads to so much anxiety and depression. That formula works for some, but not for all. We are all different, each with unique dreams and desires. These dreams and desires make the world go round. If we all wanted the same thing, life would be pretty dull. Maybe the reason we're all so tired is because we spent our lives chasing someone else's idea of happiness. So, basically, to kind of give an explanation behind that, because that can be a little bit confusing to hear, is we tend to chase down and try to follow in everybody else's footsteps whenever it comes to what makes them happy. Like, for say you have a friend that goes out and travels a lot, goes on vacation a lot, and you're like, oh my gosh, like they're so happy they get to travel all the time. And then you try it and you really only end up becoming miserable because you're spending a lot of money, places you're going isn't really as fun as you thought it would be, and then you really aren't that happy. By following in other people's basically footsteps, trying to replicate them in hopes that it'll make you feel better, doesn't really necessarily make you feel better about yourself or make you feel better as a whole. There's this biggest saying that people say all the time is, do what makes you happy. I will lay it down. That is the most 100% honest thing that someone can tell you, is do what makes you happy. Because whenever you start doing for you, you start to become the best version of yourself. You start having that sparkle back in your eye. You start having that wide smile that nobody can wipe off of your face. And overall, you start getting such a positive outlook on life. And you start getting such a positive outlook on everything because you're seeing the good and not only the bad. You're not sitting there and moping around because you can't find what makes you happy specifically. But if we try and follow in others' footsteps, what do we accomplish by doing that? How are we our own person if we're trying to copy and replicate somebody else? If what makes you happy is just laying in your bed, lay in your bed. If what makes you happy is eating a whole pack of Oreos, eat a whole pack of Oreos. Okay? For me personally, what makes me happy is my friends. Between my family and my friends, they are the top 2 things that make me the happiest whenever it comes to physically. Being able to physically spend time with my family and my friends makes me so extremely happy. Like even tonight, I went and I got to see some of my friends at the gym and hang out with them. And I had such a long and stressful day at work. And being able to see them, it's like a weight lifted off my shoulder. No pun intended, because I was at the gym. But overall, doing what makes you happy for you can change so many things and make so many things absolutely amazing. Now, bouncing on to our next subject is, by doing what makes you happy also means giving yourself respect and making sure others are respecting you. And that kind of bounces us in to something that I feel like a lot of people deal with is you tend to feel bad for how people have treated you. But you wouldn't have to express how badly you were treated if they didn't give you a reason. If they never treated you bad to begin with, you wouldn't have to sit there and defend yourself. You wouldn't have to sit there and explain why they hurt you the way they did, why you don't talk to them anymore. Because sometimes the other person tends to make you out like you're the bad person because they're just trying to cover up what hurt they actually caused, the harm that they caused. Their guilty conscience is eating them alive, so they're doing all they can to cover up what is actually the truth. But you shouldn't have to feel bad about describing and expressing how someone treated you. You shouldn't feel bad about having to talk about certain situations. But once again, overall, it wouldn't have to come down to that if that person didn't treat you badly. You have every single right in this world to describe how someone impacted you, whether it was good or whether it was bad. Of course, do it with respect, because you do not want to dig yourself a hole because somebody tried to put you in one. A lot of people tend to almost revenge whenever they're treated bad. But what good does that do? In all seriousness, what good does that do? Because at that rate, you are becoming the bad person, because it succeeds nothing by trying to treat someone bad in return. You've heard the saying, kill them with kindness. I agree with that. Or even then, silence. You do not owe anybody anything. You don't owe that person an explanation, but at the same time, you do still have a right to tell them, you treated me awful. Therefore, I don't have to sit there and talk to you anymore. I don't have to hang out with you anymore. But at the same time, it wouldn't have ever gotten to that point if they didn't do what they did to begin with. This goes for family. This goes for friendships. This goes for relationships. I mean, whatever it is, whatever the plethora of whatever. Like, you really honestly wouldn't have to get to that point if they did not give you a reason. Don't be okay with the disrespect. So many people, including myself, just put up with the disrespect and put up with the hurt because you don't want to lose that person. You don't want to lose that connection, that friend, whatever it is, you don't want to lose them. So then you sit there and you just take each hit and each hit. But eventually it'll get to a point where you are so beaten up that you feel like it's impossible to get back. And if you continue to take those hits, you will get to that point. But you are always able to stop it before it gets to that point. And it starts off with cutting off. You know, people tend to say, cut off the toxicity in your life, cut out the negative people in your life, cut out the negative this, negative that. And it's true. Whenever you start to shrink your circle, whenever you start to learn who you can and can't trust, or learn who would actually be there for you, you'll see a huge difference. You'll see who actually means what they say. You'll see who would have your back when it feels like nobody else is there. But just overall, what I'm trying to get out of this is don't let someone push you to the ground. Don't let yourself get walked all over top of, because you're better than that. You're a strong individual. That sounded so weird, but you're a strong individual. And you can make it so extremely far in life without someone who does that. Because people like that only hold you back from literally everything and anything. People like that don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you take a step in the right direction because they are so fulfilled and they are so satisfied by the fact of you not going nowhere. And that also kind of leads into control. Don't let someone control you. Don't let someone control your actions, your thoughts, none of that. Because you are your own person. And how you feel you want to go about in life is how you want to do it, not how somebody else wants you to do it. If you sit there and let someone dictate what you do, where are you going? What are you doing? So many people let others take control of their lives. And it's honestly such a wild thing to me because that does absolutely nothing for you. Absolutely nothing. And that kind of leads me into some quotes that I found that I want to read off. These quotes are honestly inspirational and also pure truth at the same time. Remember that sometimes the way you think about someone isn't the way they actually are. People are so good at putting on a mask whenever you first meet them. They have this whole facade of, I'm sweet, I'm nice, I'm so loving, I'm so caring, you'll be my best friend. You know, it's almost like people say the honeymoon phase of a relationship, where it's all great and dandy, and it's like true colors. It's like, where did this come from? You don't want me to do this. You don't want me to do that. Why don't you like my friend? You know, stuff like that. And that's why you have to remember that sometimes the way you think about someone isn't the way they actually are. That's why it's always a good thing to get to know somebody before you ever trust anyone. Before you ever try and put your foot completely in. You know how whenever you go to get in the pool and you think the water's cold, so you kind of dip your toes and you're like, that's a little cold, you know? You don't really find many people who just plunge immediately in. Me personally, if I think a pool or a water, whatever water is going to be cold, my feet are going to tickle the water before anything else, for sure. My feet, my toes are going to tickle that water a little bit to see whether or not I actually want to get in. And if it's cold, usually I try and avoid it. Think about that with people. If you think that they're going to be cold, meaning if you think they're going to be absolutely a horrible person, why would you continue to go into it? Why would you continue to try and make it work? Why would you put yourself in that uncomfortable situation? Because you know, if you get into any type of water that is freezing cold, you are uncomfortable. Take that and replicate it, but with people. If you know it's going to make you uncomfortable, why do it? Ask yourself that. Why do it if you know it will make you uncomfortable? The next thing that I want to say, I'm kind of also looking over these quotes to see how I kind of want to bounce this back and forth. This is a good one. All you can do is learn your lesson. There's no point in wishing you had done it differently. The past is the past. Accept it and grow from it. For say you did plunge into something. It made you really uncomfortable. You got out of that. Don't sit there and sulk about what you could have done, what you should have done. There's nothing you can do anymore. What's happened is happened. What's done is done. I feel like I have something in my eyeball. What's done is done. What's happened is happened. What, are you magically going to get a time machine and fix it? This ain't Back to the Future. Is that right? Maybe. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But you can't do that. It's literally impossible. So all you can do is sit there and think about, well, what did it teach me? What did I learn from this? Okay, I've learned to not let people belittle me. I've learned to not let people push me down. I've learned to do me for me. It's just overall a really good concept to think about is learning and growing. I think some people are so scared of learning and growing. I was too at one point, but it's okay. It is okay to learn, to grow, to heal, to grow up. Growing up is scary. I mean, I still have growing up to do, and the thought of that is absolutely frightening. But that's life. And life is honestly such a beautiful thing if you allow it to be. So let's move on into our next quote. Stop choosing what isn't choosing you. I know y'all heard that, and I know y'all saw me jump. I hate when my air turns on and my door shuts. Whew. Anyways, stop choosing what isn't choosing you. You tend to put yourself in situations where you want to hold on to something so bad. You don't want to let go. You don't want to release the reins. But if you really looked at the other end, are they holding on as tightly as you are? Or are they playing? Think of it like, I'm trying to think. I'm just going to use a rope, for example. While you're sitting there and you are holding on to it with the firmest grip possible, and then you really, for say it's around a wall, okay? And you're sitting there and you're holding on to it and you're like, this is working. This is working. And then you finally take your head and you peek around the corner and you see that they're just dropping it, picking it up, dropping it, picking it up. How does that make you feel? Does it sting? Does it make you feel small? Does it hurt? If you answered yes to that, there's your answer. That's your answer right there. Why are you still continuing to choose that path? Why are you still continuing to choose that person if they aren't choosing you? If that path is not choosing you? Take it even as career or school. It doesn't have to be a person. If it's not working out for you, there is probably a reason. There is a reason behind it. If it is not working, there's probably a reason behind it. So why are you still choosing it? Why are you still holding on to the idea? Like, seriously, what's the point of holding on to the idea of it? There might be a weird jump here. I had a little mishap in the recording session. Anyways, this next thing, I'm not going to go into too much detail, I'm not going to really try and explain further. This is more or less you listen and you take it and you run with it. Wait for the one, but don't wait for someone to be the one. I'll repeat it one more time. Wait for the one, but don't wait for someone to be the one. That hits hard, doesn't it? I'm not really going to elaborate on that one too much. It is very self-explanatory. And that's as far as I'm going to leave it. I know this episode was maybe a little sporadic. Maybe it was hard to keep up. Not really too sure. But overall, I think this was a good episode. I think this is a lot of stuff that you could hear just on a daily basis. Maybe you're going through something similar to the things I said, and you could have really used someone to tell you, like, hey, maybe this really isn't right. And I'm here to tell you, hey, that's not really right. Hey, you're putting disrespect when you really shouldn't. So overall, take what I say and learn from it. Take what I say and really think about it. Delve into it and feel it in your heart, in your mind, in your body. But I'm just going to leave it off at that. And once again, thank you for all the support. I'm sure my friends will be watching this. I love y'all. There's one person in particular. Thank you for everything. I may have not known you long, but thank you. Anyways, with love and care, have a good day, night, whatever time of the day it is for you. Bye, loves.